This is Gotham TV Podcast, episode 120, about Gotham: A Dark Knight, season 4, episode 15, The Sinking Ship, The Grand Applause.
I'm David Mazouz, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Robin Lloyd Taylor, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Drew Powell, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
Butch is back, and so are we. Hey there, fellow Gothamites. We're here with episode 120 of Gotham TV Podcast, talking about Gotham: A Dark Knight, season 4, episode 15, The Sinking Ship, The Grand Applause. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hello there, fellow detectives. I'm one of your other hosts, John.
A sinking ship, or the renewal of a ship?
I think it really is the HMS Sophia sinking very quickly, taking on water, as I think from the sight of victory, defeat is surely brought.
Absolutely. But we do have the return of the Nigmobblepot ship in this episode.
Yes, and HMS Harvey Bullock and Jim Gordon is coming into view, starting to dock up.
Yes, that definitely delivered some grand applause from me.
Yes. But enough with this punning on the title of Gotham. Welcome back, everyone. Please, as always, share the love, share the podcast. Head on over to gothamtvpodcast.com and subscribe to any of your good or evil podcast catchers. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podcast Addict, and of course Stitcher, where you can search Gotham TV Podcast. Subscribe, rate us, leave a review, but please share the love and share the podcast. Speaking of premium, you can also head on over to stitcher.com/premium and avail of our very own promo code Defenders, and you have the opportunity to listen for free for 1 month the Marvel scripted podcast Wolverine: The Long Night. So please, if you enjoy podcasts and you enjoy comic books, please head on over to listen to this really interesting detective tale and investigation featuring Wolverine, who is played by Richard Armitage.
Yeah, I hope some of you are enjoying that. It's a really good show, actually. The production values are fantastic. They're really good. It makes you feel like you're in Alaska, makes you feel like you're in this town where the investigation's going on. Really good. But our podcast is over on Stitcher, but it's not premium. It is, as always, for free over there. But I do recommend that you check out Wolverine, and there's an after show over there for the Wolverine scripted show from Marvel as well. You can check that out too, and loads of other content on there.
Yes, just remember to use promo code Defenders.
Yes, use our code. Why not? Support the podcast. Couple of quick pieces of news before we go into our discussion for this episode. Our review of next week's episode 16 of Gotham will be a little bit delayed. It's over the Easter period, so we're going to be going away for a couple of days. We will have it out in time for episode 17, but that's a very exciting one. Episode 16 is being directed by the wonderful Ben McKenzie,
which, given his previous writing and directing chops on Gotham, I'm really, really looking forward to as well. So yeah, our apologies for the slight delay for next week's episode 16 of Gotham, but it will only be by a few days.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives you a bit more time to get your feedback in on the episode. Hopefully it's a really good one. There's loads to talk about when we get to it. One other bit of news just for our fellow Gothamites who are in the UK or Ireland potentially. There is an announcement which has said that Gotham is coming back. Season 4 of Gotham is coming to E4. It has moved channel, gone from Channel 5, who unfortunately haven't broadcasted since Season 2. But you can get Season 1 through 3 on Netflix, and obviously go into Season 4 on E4 in a couple of weeks' time. They're just coming soon, but I'm expecting that it's going to be not that long away. Very exciting for our fellow UK and Ireland Gothamites, especially the ones going to Heroes Villain Fan Fest with us in May of this year. They'll be able to watch some of the episodes live on TV.
Yes, it is definitely great to see Gotham back on the TV in the UK, that E4 has picked up the ball that was dropped by Channel 5, unfortunately. So good on you, E4, and good on the UK and Ireland for having Gotham back on the TV. But I think let's get on with our spoiler-filled review of Gotham episode 15, The Sinking Ship, The Grand Applause. Derek, what are some of the episode details?
Yep, this episode was directed by Nick Kopus. We'll remember him. He's had some very good episodes in the past. He did, on season 1, he did episode 15, The Scarecrow, which is, I know, one of your favourites still to this day, John.
Yeah, absolutely love the Scarecrow in this world. I think they've done him really, really well. So, yeah, Nick was the guy who introduced us to this fantastic character all the way back in season 1. And he came back on board for season 2 with episodes 12 and 15. Episode 12, he introduced another famous villain of the Gotham world, Mr. Freeze. And of course, in episode 15 of season 2, Mad Grey Dawn, which was another fabulous episode.
Yes, some great episodes there. This episode was also written by Seth Boston, who gave us episode 13 of season 2, A Dead Man Feels No Cold, which featured Victor Fries. And he also gave us season 3, episode 14, one of the best episodes of Gotham so far, The Gentle Art of Making Enemies, which had Jerome and the House of Mirrors with Bruce Wayne. That was a very, very good episode.
Yeah, very cool.
No Jerome this time, but we do get Victor Fries, probably a good indication of Seth Boston's love for the character as well. John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for this episode?
Sure. With her acquisition of the Narrows under her puppet Samson, Sophia begins to tighten her grip on the Gotham underworld. But as her fingers tighten around the prize, so things begin to unravel as her enemies coalesce to destroy her. Penguin, Lee, and Enigma enlist an unlikely ally as they seek revenge, and Bullock and Gordon track down someone who is key in Sophia's control over Gotham, Mr. Penn. Meanwhile, Selina asks Bruce for a favour to help rid her of the guilt over Ivy, and Barbara is suffering with migraines, which start to take on a familiar shape as she is taken over by the essence of Ra's al Ghul. As Jim and Harvey bring Penn into protective custody, most likely from himself, Sophia, Zaz, and Wendell arrive. In the resultant shootout, Penn is taken to safety by Harvey, Zaz and Wendell head for a milkshake, and Leslie Tompkins' aim is straight and true as casualties ensue.
Nice.
Jazz hands with my rhyming end there.
I like that, John. Yeah, very, very good. Very good. Also, very cool episode here.
Oh yeah, like so much going on. Really loads going on. So many of the characters of Gotham coming into play here. Really tough to pick that top 5 because everything was so timey-wimey, mixy-wixy in there, I think, of this massive Gotham sort of casserole dish of different players.
I like it. I like it. Well, some of the big players for the episode are going to be in our case note number 1. Enigma's out of his prison, and now so is Oswald.
And not only that, but Martine is also out of prison. We see the Riddler coming to save him with instructions on Martine's little writing pad, which was really very cool.
It was.
And yes, brought to safety out of the custody of Sophia so that she can't leverage Martine's safety over Oswald. But this is all to ultimately bring Oswald out of Arkham Asylum, which is really cool. But Sophia, in hearing of this daring prison break from Martine, but at the hands of the Riddler, decides to send in Zaz and Wendell, the 3-point shooter, to go and kill Oswald, to get him and really sort of rough him up a bit. And this kind of intersects with Jim and Harvey's investigation as well, where they are trying to find the roots of Sophia's power base in Gotham.
Yeah, absolutely. I did love that moment with the release of Martine, where we see another rocket launcher, probably one of the favourite weapons in Gotham so far, a rocket launcher to blow up the kitchen full of gas. I'm not sure whether you needed the gas in addition to the rocket launcher. I'm not sure about that. I think the rocket launcher probably would have accomplished the job, but if you want to kill both of them, you'll do it with the rocket launcher and gas. It is interesting here, we talked about it a couple of episodes ago, that we weren't sure whether Zaz had actually handed over Martine to Sophia. We knew that he had taken him away, and that's why he had him in protective custody. Oswald didn't know where he was being held, but we see here that the people who are taking care of him are in the employ of Sophia. So it was definitely Zaz moving shifting sides, I suppose, over to Sophia, which we knew in dialogue, but we didn't know what had happened to Martine. Just like Oswald, we were kept in the dark about that.
Definitely. I think the other aspect here that I have flippantly overlooked is that Harvey is back on the force. He's taken back his badge, and that is why he is with Penguin in prison. He's trying to get further information as Zaz and Wendell show up. But here we have the breakout by Ed Nigma with Martine, because Nigma realizes that in taking Martine, Sophia is going to send in the heavies to get hold of Oswald. So yeah, really good here. Just how all this interaction kind of takes place. But yeah, we have the Nig Mogglepot back on board.
Yeah.
The other little thing is one of the goons who is guarding Martine is reading a comic, a detective comic, in fact, which is obviously the precursor to, surprise, surprise, DC.
Yes.
Yeah, so really, really cool.
Yeah, it's Detective Comics number 14. Batman first appeared in Detective Comics number 27, which was released about a year after this comic. I kind of like that touch. It's a really nice idea to have a comic that takes place before Batman arrives in Gotham. Exactly like this show arriving before Batman appears in Gotham. It's a nice little touch, you know. Seems like great set design from the producers of the show. So Nigma and Oswald also go on to try and form their own little clique of people. I love this idea where Riddler is now going to Lee Tompkins to try and get her involved, to set up a base where she has her base in the Narrows. When he gets there, he finds out about her hand. He finds out that Sophia has taken power back off her, and the reaction from Corey Michael Smith, the reaction on his face when he finds out that she is useless to him, is just fantastic. It's like just looking at her going, oh, okay, you can't do anything for us.
Yeah, puts his tie back up and fixes himself to look more Riddler rather than the sort of down and out Ed Nigma. Yeah, really, really good. I love it when Oswald comes breaking in as well here, and you have the three of them in Leslie's surgery. And Oswald says, I let him out of his cage, and in turn he let me out of mine, in terms of the prison break and in terms of releasing the Riddler back into Gotham. Really nice little line there. But they also then need muscle, ultimately, and so they head on over to try and find Grundy. But Grundy's gone.
Yes.
We have Butch. Butch is back, and it certainly backfires on the Riddler here.
Yeah, not a good idea for the Riddler to go down there alone. But I do like this. I like that we have Butch inside the body of Grundy now. So we have got Butch. I like that he does this. I like that it is Riddler who goes down on his own and tries to be really smart with him. And then suddenly the realization that Butch is back and he's got his mind back. And what does he do? Of course, he knocks out Riddler and drags him across the city to Tabitha.
Yes, exactly.
There's another little offering to Tabitha.
Yeah, I love that. I love it when Butch goes, you're not Ed and I'm not Grundy. You know, there's been changes here. It's a shame we've lost that kind of kooky little relationship, but certainly it's nice to have that kind of revengeful side. You forget how much pain the Riddler put Tabitha and Butch Gilzean through here. And so even when he arrives at the Sirens Bar, you know, the atmosphere between him and Barbara too is very, very kind of tense, and I really like that.
Yeah.
You know, all these things coming up from the past are still there, they still resonate, so it's really, really good.
Yeah, remember, she is the one that shot him in the head, so when she realizes that this is Grundy back, I love that she goes instantly to get the corkscrew to aim it at his face and threaten him again, and he just goes, ooh, scary.
Yeah, and I mean, the other good thing here is we do start to see, and we'll come back to it in one of our later case notes, but we see Barbara suffering from migraines, she says. She's kind of popping pills, and she's really struggling with her focus.
Well, why don't we go on to that? That can be our case note number 2, John.
Yes, Babs is in pain. So she's really struggling here. Things are kind of going out of focus. The sounds are muffled. She's taking her painkillers. She's really not feeling herself. And of course, we know why. She has glowy hand syndrome from Ra's al Ghul, his essence, his spirit that infiltrated her. And here we now see the result of that.
Yes.
And just so really good that, again, bringing this back, the light from his essence coming into her hands and it glowing up, and then he walks towards her. And it seems like he walks into her. So is Barbara now possessed by the spirit of Ra's al Ghul, or will he ultimately turn Barbara into him? Is this the end of Barbara? Will he eat away at her and eventually she'll grow a moustache and get a beard and she will morph into Ra's al Ghul? Probably not, but maybe he'll keep her around, but she is certainly possessed and under the control of Ra's al Ghul, or so it looks right at the end in the bar, as his spirit, his physical astral kind of form walks towards her and seemingly takes control of her.
Yeah, it's so good to start seeing this payoff. I think it was episode 4 or episode 5 of this season when we saw the essence pass from Ra's al Ghul to Babs. It does feel like she's going to be more of a vessel to his essence until he maybe finds another body, but a really interesting role for Barbara to play for hopefully the rest of the season now, as we see Ra's al Ghul come back. It is wonderful to see Alexander Siddig finally in the show. Once again, he is another character who's had his credit, and at the opening credits of every show since he first appeared, he's had a credit there. So because the credit was there, I wasn't expecting to see him in this episode, but it's really nice to see him back, and hopefully we'll get to see a bit more of maybe the fight within Barbara's mind with Alexander Siddig and Aaron Richards playing the roles off against each other. Potentially we'll see them do it that way for a little while, but definitely some big changes to come for Babs.
Yeah, completely. I think with that, on to case note 3. Jim and Harvey's side of the investigation. Mr. Penn is the key.
Yes.
He is back. Really great here. We have Harvey taking back the badge, as I said, and I love the moment that he also says, and it resonates later on in the episode, where he says, Jim, you have to pay for this. I will help you, but you still have to own this and suffer the consequences.
Harvey, yeah.
Yeah, but Harvey goes on his old stomping grounds, his old contacts in the underworld, and ends up with the delightful Miss Agnes, also known as the Skinner, who used to skin the people alive on the request or the orders of Carmine Falcone. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately it leads him to the Penguin in Arkham, and then they hit on Mr. Penn as the key. He's in a really interesting place at the moment. I don't know whether is this a holiday resort and spa that he's visiting where grown-ups can act out childhood fantasies with big rubber duckies and big building blocks and Lego and all this kind of thing. Or is he in an asylum? Or some kind of medical or mental facility where he is kind of laying low, trying to hide. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, they do call it out that this is something that he's known to do, is to go away to this special therapy at a resort, but it feels more like a spa the way everybody's describing it, that it's going to be a place where he goes and gets massages and, facials and that kind of stuff to relax after his hard days of doing the books for everybody in Gotham, it looks like. But this is one of the funniest things I have seen on Gotham.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we've got it. So as you say, everybody there being dressed up like babies, being taken care of by the management that are there, they're dressed up as nurses or dressed up as nursemaids, taking care of them. Hilarious. Honestly, I thought there was just some fun being had by the writer of the show, kind of going, if we're going to bring back this really serious character after he'd been abused by Babs the last time we saw him, we thought he was possibly dead after being tortured by Babs in the past. Great to see Mr. Penn back, but it was like a good joke there going, if we're going to bring back this really straight-laced, serious character, we're going to bring him back in the funniest way we can think of.
He has some fine fantasies going on there. I just thought Arthur Penn here, comedy genius. I love how he tries to sneak out of the room when Harvey and Jim are asking if he is there, and just when he gets caught, just the expression, the slight sort of lull of the head, and then him taking off his bonnet. Yes, who would have thought Arthur Penn would have a baby bonnet on? But with his little ducky bib. So funny in his little blue pajamas, presumably with. Did he have a dummy around his neck as well? I think he
Didn't
may
see
have
the
done.
dummy. I didn't see the dummy, but possibly. Andrew Sellon is great in this role. Really enjoy seeing Mr. Penn back. And the good news is he's alive at the end of the episode, so we will hopefully see him again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he is being driven to safety by Harvey Bullock as Wendell and Zaz are firing their guns at the back of the car. And there is a moment where his head pops up out the back as though he's trying to see what's going on. Again, I thought that was just a little giggly moment.
Yeah.
But we find here that Penn was asked to work for Falcone to keep tabs on Sophia.
Yeah.
Sophia learnt about that and then effectively forced him to work for her. And this is why she was always just so much ahead of the pack, that one step ahead of Penguin, because she had an inside man.
Yeah, it's quite significant, isn't it? So he worked for Don Falcone when Don Falcone was the head of Gotham, or the king of Gotham. Then he went on to work for Penguin, but was still working for Don Falcone. And then when Sophia comes to town, Don Falcone says, you need to work with her as well. He's also the one that introduced Sophia to Laszlo Valentine, Professor Pig. So he has got quite a significant connection with these characters in the show, which is really good. It's great that he wasn't just the backup man for the Penguin. He had loads more going on that we didn't know about. And he was keeping it all separate and probably making a hell of a lot of money out of this arrangement between all of these leaders of the underworld of Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, we really enjoyed this character working with Penguin. He was such a standout, and to have this sort of bigger impact on what has gone down in Gotham with Sophia and Jim and the GCPD, and ultimately the demise of Penguin, although we're starting to see his rise up again to be an Emperor Penguin. Yes. So I think such a good thread through this story.
And one final bit about this scene, I just absolutely have to compliment Bullock and Gordon as they arrive with their absolutely distasteful looks for what's going on in here. They have seen the dregs of Gotham, remember, over the last 4 seasons. They've seen the worst of Gotham, and they can still be shocked by something like this going on with so many people. There's 30 or 40 people that are at this special therapy session. I just love the looks on both of their faces. Very, very funny. I just felt like they were just on the level of breaking character and laughing at the situation they've been put in, but just thought it was really good.
Definitely. I think on to case note 4, Sophia here holds all the cards.
Yeah.
And she turns up at this special therapy resort and spa because she knows how much of a linchpin Mr. Penn is. And this was really interesting. In fact, a lot of people show up at this special therapy resort and spa because we have Sophia, we have the headhunter, we have Zaz, we have Jim, we have Harvey Bullock, Mr. Penn is there, and they get to him first. But we also have Leslie Tompkins showing up here. And previous to that, Leslie, Riddler, and Oswald have kind of been split up here. Riddler has been taken to Sophia because the Sirens have decided this is the best way to kind of keep under the radar, yes. And if any fallout happens, they are not going to have that mud stick. So he has been sent to Sophia, where we have the return of the dentist as well, working on the Riddler. So it's great to have the dentist back here.
Yeah. And the last time it was that Sophia was going to be worked on by the dentist until she informed him, I suppose, that she knew everything about him and would threaten the rest of his family. So now he's working with her. That's cool. I love some of the cameos in this episode. The fact that they brought other people back. We see Mr. Freeze being brought back to help Penguin out with his plan of getting into Sophia. So he freezes Penguin and he unfreezes in there and gets the opportunity to try and get Riddler back. But Riddler's been taken away. Riddler's been sent off to the docks to get shot. Once again.
Yes, absolutely loved this. At the end, Mr. Freeze actually works with Penguin here. I do like the fact that, Mr. Freeze was slightly betrayed by Penguin. He didn't get the research money available to try and undo his condition that he has. I love Robin Lord Taylor's sort of, yes, I regret that omission. So good. But ultimately, he gives Penguin a device and then freezes him, much to the surprise of Penguin here, and then brings Penguin's frozen body in the popsicle. This is the Pengsicle, and this device slowly melts and cracks open his ice cube that is imprisoning him, and he is able to find out where the Riddler has been taken. And it's back to those docks, and I love the moment after Penguin saves him that Ed Nygma goes, "I have a strong desire never to see this pier again."
It's a great moment because it's been so important in the show, really, right back to the pilot when we had Penguin on the edge of that pier with a gun in his head, in his face from Jim Gordon. It's been really important back then. Then we had Riddler effectively killing Oswald and throwing him into the river.
Yep.
So he thought at the time. Then we had Oswald bringing Riddler back there with Mr. Freeze to freeze him into that popsicle that took away his mind for half a season and put him into the center of the Iceberg Lounge. So it's been really important to these two characters, and great to see the two of them working together again, realizing they can trust one another, and now they'll move ahead and take back Gotham from everybody else with their relationship working together. It's a really strong moment. I wonder, will we ever see the pier again? It's interesting. May not be with those two characters, but I did really love the moment. And one other thing to call out for Mr. Freeze: congratulations on also getting the payday that he was promised as well. He confirms that the melted ice block of the Pengsicle will not happen until after he gets the $100,000 transferred to him. Sophia instantly gives him the money and he walks out, and it's only then that the cracking starts.
Yes. Really, really good. But I think back to the comedy twisted spa and resort hotel where a shootout is ensuing here. We have real casualties here. Jim is shot effectively 4 times here, with Sophia doing a lot of this damage. Really, but also saying that she will take him back, and he refuses. But we get the fantastic payback moment. You know, this is not a happy family, the Falcones, anymore. But we see Leslie with the shot to the stomach and then the headshot to Sophia.
So good.
Absolutely fantastic. The only thing I would say is, and she's in a coma, not dead.
Yeah.
I thought that was the end of Sophia. I really did, until we see Jim recovering in hospital, and him being told that she also survived and is in a coma. Then she must have one metal-plated forehead to stop that bullet from going into the old brain goo. So, yeah, interesting. No one is in dire trouble in Gotham if you can survive such a headshot from Leslie Tompkins.
It was a real surprise to hear that she's in a coma. I know suspension of disbelief with Gotham is not difficult. We've had 4 seasons of the show and 120 episodes of our podcast talking about Gotham as well, so we've seen a lot. This was a bit of a surprise for me. I'm not sure whether I'm particularly happy with it. We'll just have to see how it plays out in future. It would be a shame to lose Crystal Reed from the show. She's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sophia, particularly the last half of the season. It's been really, really good seeing Sophia on the show. Losing another member of the Mafia crew with a headshot would be a bit of a shame, but I don't know how she comes back from this. There's got to be at least some permanent damage from a headshot.
Definitely. I wonder whether this really moves her into the realm of, say, the Long Halloween, where Sophia, or one of the Falcone families, is wheelchair bound, and really, you know, has a head and neck brace. We saw her faking it at the funeral in the church, at her father's funeral, and now maybe this is the turn. This is where, you know, that comes back to haunt her, because now she is permanently crippled, maybe permanently brain damaged, and really is not going to be able to be this queen of the Gotham underworld like she was trying to do. Really good to see Leslie do that shooting. And again, we see this dark side of Leslie. You know, she is willing to team up with the Riddler and with Penguin here, despite all the past history, to go after Sophia, and she is adamant that she is going there to kill her. And I really like the fact that, we see this switch in the Narrows as well. From the start of this episode, it's under new management. Samson is there collecting Sophia's 30%.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it...
And killing members of the Narrows as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's being really brutal here and shooting the husband and father of a family who's pleading for his life. But by the end of it, he is in that same boxing ring, is put to rest in a sense. He's still alive, but Leslie uses the hammer that Sophia used on her, and she seems to take utter rage out on Samson's hand. So I think Samson certainly wasn't going to get an easy ride like he did last time. I think Samson may be held up as an example, but he's still alive.
Yes.
He certainly just won't have a hand.
Yes, I do love that she's carrying it like her signature weapon of choice now. It's like as if they're creating Leslie into another villain for Gotham, where she has her signature weapon, which she's basically taking back from what happened to her at the hands of Sophia. No pun intended. But this episode was a real stand-up and cheer episode for Leslie Tompkins. We talked about it before, that a lot of the storylines in the past had been Leslie Tompkins and Jim Gordon over and over, repeating their relationship over and over, whether even when she was going through getting married to Mario Falcone, there was still the relationship to deal with Jim Gordon. Now that seems to have moved along. She hardly even talks to Jim Gordon. She does save his life as the doctor on the scene after he got shot 4 times because of how good a doctor she is, says Harvey Bullock. Jim is safe and Jim is alive. But there was no conversation of, oh, my former boyfriend Jim, oh, my ex Jim. There was no conversation of that. This was purely about her paying back Sophia for that broken hand and taking back the Narrows. So real fist pump in the air for Leslie Tompkins this episode. Really enjoyed it. I did also enjoy the conversation between Harvey and Jim in the hospital as well, where Harvey's saying to Jim, you can't tell anybody about killing Pig. You have to keep that to yourself. Jim's responding saying, so Sophia does actually win in the end. And Harvey quotes Dark Knight with, it's what the city needs.
Yes,
It may
exactly.
not be what you want, but it's what the city needs.
That you have to live with this, and that's your debt. That's your cross to bear here. So really, really good. As I said earlier in the episode, he says you'll have to pay for this, and Jim automatically is thinking he's going to have to go public, and this is what he intends to do, lying in his hospital bed. And Harvey just completely undercuts him, as you say, to say that, no, Gotham doesn't need you to come public on this sort of betrayal of your office.
Yeah.
And you have to live with it. You have to bury it deep down, and this is your debt to the city and to the post that you now are in.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
I think we need to go on to the final case note for this episode because it's fantastic. Batcat is back. Case note 5. Selena turning to Bruce for help. Is that the first time we've seen Selena asking for help in the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, it was nice, this. I love the fact that she's rooting through the cupboards in Wayne Manor, looking for help. I love the fact that Bruce Wayne goes, missed you too, to her. She's swallowing her pride a bit here. She certainly recognizes that he's not the same person who gave her a hard deal in the Sirens Club, but she expects that he might do something like that later on. She's swallowing her pride here, but she does say, I missed you. And I thought it was really just a nice little moment where he goes, I missed you too. But this payback is to try and get the stuff she's pawned off, in order to pay back the family of Roland Charles, who is the scientist from Wayne Enterprise that was killed by Ivy. She's feeling completely guilty for taking these goods, and especially after what Ivy did to the family. And so I think this is a really nice sort of way of showing that, Selena, in the last episode, she goes, I am no hero. And that is right. She's not a hero. She's an anti-hero. She will steal, but there are certain things she doesn't look to kill. She's not a murderer.
Yeah.
And in this case, where it conflicts with her value, she will try and reverse it, try and unravel it and bring it back. And in this moment, she turns to Bruce to help her. And then they go off to the pawn shop to try and buy back the items that she's sold, and which leads to a great little fight.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, fighting back to back at always fun seeing the two of these characters on screen together. The two actors work so well together, and seeing them have this big fight in there. What I thought was hilarious, as you say, John, that moment where Selena says to Bruce, "I know there's no point in me forgiving you for that issue that we had in the club because you're going to just do it again later on." The reason why she says that is because, well, she did try and steal the stuff back from the pawn shop first before she realised she couldn't get past the security and steal it back. So now she needs the money because she's exhausted all of her other opportunities. And she knows when Bruce finds out that she broke into the pawn shop, she's in for another lecture from him. So nice little touch there.
Definitely. And this fighting together was just really cool. I loved the line from Bruce Wayne at the end, "Next time, take the deal." And then he chucks a bit of a wedge of cash on the owner of the shop. So, yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. That's the end of our case notes for this episode of Gotham. Anything else to talk about, John? Anything else we've missed out?
No, there's nothing else from me for notes.
The one only thing that we didn't really mention, Headhunter returning as a side man for Zaz. Headhunter was back in A Day in the Narrows. He was being used as the muscle to clean out the Narrows. So kind of cool to see him back. I was surprised. I didn't expect him back. I thought he'd been killed in that episode, but he was in prison.
First name, Wendell.
Wendell, yes. Wendell
Indeed.
Wendell H. Hunter. Wendell Headhunter. Yeah. Maybe, yes. What's our Gotham moment of the week, John?
It is having the fantastic Mr. Penn back in the show. The reveal of him in his special therapy resort and spa was just hilarious and such a great moment there. Absolutely comedy gold, comedy genius. So definitely for me, that moment of the week is Mr. Penn being stopped by Jim and Harvey in his new superhero outfit.
I like it. I'm not too sure whether you can run down the streets wearing a baby grow or an adult-sized baby grow. But yeah, great job. It is an episode that had some great big moments in it. That is one of the funniest moments in the episode and definitely a moment of the week. Obviously, the shot to Sophia's head from Lee getting revenge and her taking back the Narrows are two big moments as well from the week. What's our Gotham character of the week? We like to highlight a minor character in the show, someone that may not come back in a future episode. What's our Gotham character this time, John? I
loved seeing Madam Skinner. I love that she gets this little potted history about her time in the Gulag. And, you know, it's set in this sweet shop with her grandchildren there, but this old lady has a history, and that is that she's a skinner of people at the orders of Falcone, but she has this old shared past with Harvey Bullock as well, in terms of one of his contacts on the ground. So it's just really nice to see Madam Skinner, this little character fleshing out a past with Harvey and a past with Carmine Falcone. And also behind the Saccharine Sweet shop front, there is a bloody difference between her frontage and her reality. Really good.
Yeah. Always old friends in Gotham come back to bite you when you least expect it. John, how would you rate this episode of Gotham?
I really like this episode, and I would give it 4.5 milkshakes and ice creams out of 5 in the tradition of Zaz and Headhunter. Sort of really kind of not getting a break across the entire episode. Each time they just thought, okay, let's go for a milkshake, you know? So I just thought it was so good. It was just the coming together of all these different strands around Sophia onto this resort where Penn is this keystone that has to be protected by Jim and Harvey, killed by Sophia and her gang, or reclaimed at least. Whether it would be killed, we don't know, but certainly Penguin was out to try and get him for his betrayal as what he thought was a loyal right-hand man. And I just think played so fantastically here. So really good. You know, we got Mr. Freeze as well. Fantastic. The dentist came back. Madam Skinner as well. All really good. And then as well, Bruce and Selena hooking up to really kind of emphasize that Selena, you know, is a more complex villain, if you will. In fact, an anti-hero than than most of the other villains in Gotham.
Yeah, absolutely. No, really, really enjoyed this episode. It was great fun and some classic Gotham moments in there. Really, really good. I have a feeling that Seth Boston, the writer of this episode, had a bit of a sweet tooth, though. We have the ice cream being offered to Martine at the start. We have the episode ending with Zaz and Headhunter going off for a milkshake. And we also have Madame Skinner sitting in a candy shop. Was he denying all of those sugary treats at the time and they were all in his mind? But yeah, really good fun. I think it's time to get on to some feedback, John.
Yes. First off, we have some episode 15 Facebook feedback. You can head on over to our Facebook group. Just head on to facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV podcast.
First up, Almedina Fuentes says it's a wonderful episode.
Most definitely. Just such a fantastic episode. Caroline Wells comes in, that wonderful look of shock as Sophia met the floor, and then the fandom rejoice.
That is the grand applause.
Charlotte Bain goes on saying, now that was priceless. Loved how Oswald and Ed promised not to go back to the pier. Lol. Absolutely. Such a great comedy moment as well. Such good comedy in this. Married to, some bloody violence, houses exploding, gunshots being fired, people hospitalized, hammers being wielded, teeth being pulled, drill bits being used. I mean, just fantastic.
The return of Grundy, the freezing of Penguin. So much good stuff in this episode. Richard Blaze also says, amazing episode, easily in my top 5 best evers.
Wow, high praise indeed. Yeah, definitely one of the big hitter of an episode. We also have some email feedback. You can email us your thoughts and comments on feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. The first piece of feedback comes from Monica Jones. What an episode. So much drama and so many laughs. My initial reactions, the opening shot of Detective Comics number 14 was very cool and appropriately a full year before Batman's first appearance.
That's right.
Yeah, good spot, Monica. Monica carries on, Uncle Penguin sent me to get you. So cute. And Martin wasn't interested until Ed offered an ice cream. By the way, is that Zaz's idea of childcare?
That wasn't great, was it? He doesn't even get a chair.
I know. I love Bruce and Selina's chemistry. I missed you too. Yeah, fantastic moments. Such a little bit of writing, a little bit of dialogue, but it just is portrayed in such a way that it means so much between these two characters. Absolutely.
And to all of us.
Yeah, exactly. Monica carries on with, but you're not Ed and I'm not Grundy. Been waiting for this moment and it did not disappoint. Grinning like the Joker over here.
Oh, yes.
Penguin's face when he realizes Penn double-crossed him. Robin Lord Taylor is a gem. Now, do you boys want to come quietly or do you want to do this the fun way? I have missed Zaz, but my favourite line of the episode that had me laughing the hardest, I have a strong desire to never ever see this pier again. Looking forward to your show, Monica. Thank you so much, Monica. Yes, such a great line amongst so many great lines in this episode.
Yeah, definitely. I have to say, didn't mention the moment, but Robert Lord Taylor on the streets of Gotham with Ben McKenzie and Harvey Bullock and having that discussion with them where he finds out that Mr. Penn is the one that's betrayed him, where he almost chokes on the bile and anger that's in him. It's just such a great Penguin moment. It's a moment we've gotten from Robert Lord Taylor a few times, but it's never not fun seeing it. Really good.
Exactly.
Our other piece of feedback on email comes in from Claire Payne. She says, hello, Gotham TV podcast. What an amazing episode. I've watched it 3 times and words still fail me in exactly why I loved it so much. I will apologise in advance for using the word love a lot during this piece of feedback. No need to apologise, Claire. The opening scene alone with the 2 men guarding Martine and one of them reading a detective comic was brilliant. I suspect you paused to see what the comic was, but I didn't have Batman on the cover. That's true. Early issue of Detective Comics. You know us so well, Claire.
Yeah, exactly. Pause. Pulls again. Yeah.
Says, I love how Ed has got his swagger back now. He is the Riddler and told Martine that Uncle Penguin had sent him. Harvey going off on his own to speak to an old informant. I just love how creative Gotham are with their names. I could not wait to see who Scandinavian Skinner was, and I wasn't disappointed. I love how Harvey took control following the leads and taking down Sophia Falcone, arresting Penguin and telling Jim whilst in his hospital bed that he has to live his debt just like Harvey does, as that is what the city needs. Just great moments. Claire says, love the scenes between Bruce and Selina, especially as she admitted that she needed help. It was also great that Bruce taught Selina that apologising is easier than you think. I love how Ed pretended not to be Riddler when he went to see Lee, and she instantly knew that he was different.
Yeah, so good. Just the tie being undone, scruffing up his hair a bit. Yeah, so good.
Mm-hmm. Lee didn't seem too concerned that the Riddler had returned, though. I am hoping that there will still be some kind of alliance between them. It seems like Lee is going to do anything to get the Naras back in her grasp, so I agree with you, Claire. That's very likely that she's going to be working with the Riddler in the future. Possibly. Seems like there's going to be some fun alliances still going on in the show. Claire continues with, Lee was brilliant. I love what she did to gain back control of the Naras. I hope she stays on this path and doesn't go too dark. Do you think when she shot Sophia, she intended to put her in a coma? I absolutely think that she thought Sophia was dead, much like all of us watching the episode.
Yes, I think so.
Claire says she loves how they wrapped up Sophia's story for now, as I feel it's time to move on. Oswald definitely needs to calm down, and his short time on ice did help him a bit. I loved Oswald's brief dilemma. Does he go after Sophia or rescue Ed? He made the right choice. It's going to be interesting to see the trust will remain. Brilliant scene of Oswald and Ed at the pier, and I never want to go and see it again. Mr. Penn's backstory of being a long-term loyal employee to Don Falcone was brilliant. I love how he was working for Sophia because he had to stay alive, but all along trying to make Oswald see Sophia was behind it all. Another question, how did Mr. Penn know how to find Laszlo Valentine, aka Pig? Seems like he had some kind of prior relationship with Mr. Pig that we didn't get in this episode, Claire. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I just like that they tied him in with that whole plot, that it is effectively his fault. If he didn't connect Sophia to Mr. Pig, maybe things would have gone a lot differently in Gotham.
Definitely. I mean, Laszlo Valentine was an ex-con, so he may have connected to him, found him through being part of that network of the Carmine Falcone empire. Yeah. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see exactly this relationship. And thank goodness that Mr. Penn was driven to safety by Harvey Bullock. Yeah. So I am certainly looking forward to the next episode to see Mr. Penn back.
Yeah, looking forward to the next time we see him. Claire continues, Mr. Penn's therapy was hilariously weird, and I would like to mention Andrew Sellon because his tweets 2 hours before the episode aired in the USA were brilliant. He was right. This episode of Gotham was funny, nail-biting, and a huge game changer. I love Andrew Sellon on Twitter. He's been fantastic, especially throughout this episode. He keeps saying, you never know what you're going to get at Gotham. I kept thinking that meant this would be the end of Mr. Penn, but no, we do get to keep him in the show, and we hear how much of an impact he did actually have in the back running of Gotham in the past. Is really good. Finally, Claire says, Butch is back, and I love how he told Ted that he got smart too. And I'm really interested to see whether we are going to see Ra's al Ghul pass to Barbara, and I'm really looking forward to it. Claire, thanks so much for all of your feedback. Lots of great thoughts about this episode. It was one of those special episodes of Gotham, wasn't it? There's just so much going on.
Yeah, so special. Really loved this episode.
Can't wait for next time. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Gotham. We'll be back a little bit later next week with our review of episode 16 of Gotham, One of My Three Soups, directed by the wonderful Ben McKenzie.
Yes, thank you so much for all the feedback. And of course, thank you so much for listening. I'm off to go and get milkshake with Zaz and Wendell. It just seems I can't catch a break today.
Can I come?
Of course you can.
Good.
And so can everyone else listening to Gotham TV podcast. But of course, once we finish those milkshakes, slurp them down, we will be back to speak with you again next time.
Yes, have a lovely Easter. We will talk to you directly after that.
Yes, happy Bunny Day indeed. Bye.
Thanks for being a Butch supporter. Butch loves you, baby.